Glen Orchy is a very scenic valley in Argyll Butte, Scotland. Around 10 miles long, running between Bridge of Orchy on the A82 and just east of the Mallee on the A85. In Gaelic is often referred to as Glen Orchy Nambaden, meaning Glen Orchy of the copses, with copses meaning trees, and it's easy to see why. The main feature of the glen is of course the River Orchy, which starts in Loch Etive and flows into Loch Etive, around 15 miles long. To the south the river is often silent, deep and slow moving, but heading north into the glen it's more often whitewater rapids and cascading waterfalls, although none are very high falls. This makes the river very attractive to whitewater rafters and kayakers. It's also a well-known salmon river with a rod permit of £55 plus VAT per day in high season. Its best times possibly being August to October, after rain puts the river into spate and then it starts to run off. The river is flanked in its eastern bank by the B8074 single-track road with passing places, and has as many twists and turns as a river. It can be a busy road in summer, but on a cold Monday in February, I hardly saw another soul. There are no villages in the glen, just a handful of isolated farms and crofts. Historically, it was Clan MacGregor country, and it's believed Rob Roy MacGregor's mother was born here. Some sheep are reared in the glen, which is nice to see. According to some reports, more than 50,000 breeding ewes have vanished in Scotland over the past decade. Mutton is not so popular now, and farms struggle to rear sheep due to costs in a falling market. I couldn't help but notice these low green huts around Glen Orchy farm and wondered what they're for. Well, until the inhabitants of one hut came to greet me. Pigs on the west coast are even rarer than sheep, though I used to see them regularly over Wormit Way on the east coast. I wonder how they can see hiding behind those floppy ears. Bacon roll, anyone? Glen Orchy Farm has recently planted 53,000 native trees to create new woodland and enhance sustainability. While further south, these potholes indicate thousands of other trees have been planted. I just don't know if it's commercial lumber trees or native species. Hopefully a healthy mix of both. So don't be disappointed if you don't see any of these chaps in the glen. I took this shot in a neighbouring glen. Deer fences keep them away from the woodlands and eating the young trees, which makes me wonder if Glen Orchy can control the deer population enough for a healthy woodland valley to thrive. Why do some other areas in Scotland have problems? Existing native trees growing in the glen are birch, alder, oak, Scotch pine, rowan, hawthorn and holly, to name a few. Some of the most southerly remnants of ancient Caledonia forests can still be found in parts of the glen. There is also an abundance of non-native trees, such as the Sitka spruce grown for lumber. While the wonderful woodlands all add to the charm of this scenic glen, it's the white waterfalls that add the icing in the cake for me. I love listening to tumbling water, which is a natural white noise which seems to calm my sometimes troubled soul. Of course, the sound is dependent on how much rain there has been lately, increasing in volume during wet spells, and dying away to a soothing lullaby in dry spells. Possibly the most spectacular falls are situated in the middle of the glen and simply called the Falls of Orchy. They consist of a river tumbling into a deep ravine from 3 directions and exiting from 1 direction. One of nature's watery masterpieces in motion. And after the river has been through that washing machine, the only sign of its turbulent journey is a little white froth in the water surface, slowly spinning and drifting downstream. There are many other falls to discover as the river makes its way into Loch Etive. At the time of filming the glen, there had been a few days of dry weather, so the river wasn't running high. It was mostly being drip-fed by snow melt from the hills. Hill walkers frequent the area to wander along the Corbett tops which flank the valley, or clamber the Munros at the Bridge of Orchy end of the glen. I'm not as energetic as I used to be, so was happy to take my walk on the gentler side, along the riverbank. I was at one with nature and the peaceful surroundings of the forest. The only sound was the occasional croak of a raven far off in the distance, and the low white noise of a slow-moving river. I was in no hurry, so took time to smell the mosses and ferns, vibrant green even in a cold winter's day. I mused to myself when I thought some of the trees looked even older than myself. And occasionally I rested to admire the slow-moving river, or listened to a side stream singing its quiet song. The species of moss was even more colourful than the verdant green mosses. The weather so far had been for a dull, overcast day, so I just had to stop and admire a distant hillside glow brightly, and a shaft of sun illuminated its yellow ochre flanks. For me, it's these magical moments that make a walk in the countryside so special. so I sat down on a rock to watch nature's light show. Then I set the drone loose so it could have a look too, and also to let it have a look up ahead, as I could hear the peaceful river now getting a lot louder. The noise was coming from another large waterfall just around the corner, so I made my way there and was delighted to find a bench to sit on while admiring the falls. The sun shone very briefly, turning the water into golden whisky. Only for a moment or two, and then it was gone, and water once again cascaded over the rocks. I then continued my way along the riverside walk until I reached the road again and headed back to the car. Although it had been an uninspiring, cold, dull day weather-wise, I'd thoroughly enjoyed my day in Glen Orchy. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.